Tucher Lager Hell.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I'm reviewing a lager here, and I really don't want to be reviewing a lager. I made a point of, in December, reviewing Christmas beer, and I've been really disappointed by some of the German stuff. Now, I never thought I'd be saying this, but the Bavarian beer that I've tried, the Christmas beer, has been bad. I've been reviewing beer since, I would say, it must be about a year now. Probably November last year, I think I started doing it. And one true constant that I've known when reviewing beer is that beer from Bavaria is usually really good. But that myth has just been exploded now, because I've tried 2 or 3 Christmas beers from Bavaria and they've been really poor, and it's really disappointing. And I don't know what it is, but there seems to be a recurring theme, and it seems to be sulphur flavours and aromas in the beer. Now, this obviously is a Tucher lager, not seasonal. You can get this all year round, and it's a lager, so you know what you're getting with a, well, I hope I know what I'm getting with a lager. But with the Christmas beer, whether it be a Marzen or some sort of Dunkel beer, you would expect them to sort of pull out all the stops, because people who don't normally buy beer would be buying beer around this time for guests, trying to impress people and all that. But I've just had 2 really bad beers. The first one came from Tucher, the Chris Kindle marked beer. That was really bad, and I was really disappointed with that, because it had such a strong aroma and flavour of sulphur that it really put me off. It was like somebody had put an Alka-Seltzer into the beer, and it fucking didn't taste right. I tried the Brauerei Christmas beer, and that was even worse. It had the sulphurous flavour and aroma, but it also had some dodgy yeast esters that I've tasted before in some of the craft beer from this lot. The Wacken Brewery from North Germany, and I've tasted that before, and I think that is a Marzen. Is it? No, it's a Helles. I do apologise, but yeah, I'm just really disillusioned with it. And I've got a few Marzens in there, I've got a few German Christmas beers in there, but I'm at the point now where I'm just thinking, I don't want to fucking try that shit anymore. I'm hopefully going to try an old reliable, and it's the Tucher Lager Hell. Now, obviously it's a lager, as I said before, it's not a seasonal beer, you can get this all year round, but I just want something that's not going to fucking let me down. Now, Tucher, I love their Weiss beer. I haven't tried that yet. I haven't reviewed it yet. Of course I've tried it. They used to be able to get that in the Witherspoons. You can't get it now. The Christmas beer, as I said, was shit. So this is me, hopefully, going to be tasting a good lager. Now, Tucher are from a place called Nuremberg in Bavaria, and they generally have a good reputation, and I would be, quite willing to sort of advocate that good reputation until I tried that Christmas beer, and that really did disappoint me. I was really fucking annoyed about that as well. It weren't cheap. So let's stop having a rant and let's try and get this beer down my Gregory, and just let me have my faith restored in Bavarian beer. That looks like a really old label. Now there is the label on there. and it is 5.2%, 500ml bottle, conforms to the Reinheitsgebot, and it's from Nuremberg, as I said. Now, this came from the very imaginatively named beer shop in Hereford called the Hereford Beer House, believe it or not, and it is the Tucher Lager Hell, and it cost me £3.40. So please don't let me have this go down the sink as well, because the last two have gone down the sink. The Christmas beer went down the sink from Tucher, and also the Krugerbräu, or the Krugbräu Christmas beer went down the sink too. So I'm hoping this isn't going to go down there as well. Let's get it open, and let's hope it doesn't smell of sulphur. Right, there's the cap. That's the same as the Christmas beer cap, and it's got a little bit of a seal on it as well. Let's get it into the glass. I'm using this glass. I used it on the last review. I washed it out. Please, please do not let me down. Please don't let this be a shit beer, because I really am at the point of just giving up on Bavarian beer at the moment. It's really poor. Let's get the aroma. There's a little hint of that sulphur aroma. It's not as bad as it was on the other stuff. What is it? Why have they got fucking sulphur going on in their beers? Is it me? Have I got COVID or something? It's affected my sense of smell. This smells like the Christmas beer. How the fuck has this happened? Well, the head's dissipating at a rate of knots. There's very little carbonation. That actually does look like a good beer. And it reminds me of the Löwenbräu stuff. That's what that looked like. But that aroma. It's not as strong as it was on the Christmas beer, but it's still there. And I know that you do get sulphur in some beers, you know, when you first open it. Certainly lagers as well, that have been, you know, they've been bottled just a little bit too quickly, and it hasn't allowed the sulphur to escape. But I think there's something in the water with this. And do you know what? That aroma has dissipated to nothing. It really doesn't smell of anything now. There's a very, very slight smell of sulphur, and that is it. And that really isn't a good sign. I'm getting very, very faint honey sweetness and a little bit of lemon citrus, but again, there's a very subtle sulphurous aroma on that as well. I'm really not looking forward to this. Wish me luck. Let me dive in again. Well, it's not that impressive, I will say that. There is a very slight... What would it be? I'm getting, like, you know, the painkiller Disprin and Alka-Seltzer. So it's like it's been brewed with water that's got sulphurous content in it, or alkali. That was really big in their Christmas beer. And that was a Martin. That was 6.6%. This is a Helles. It's 5.2%. And I am getting traces of that same flavour in there, and it's not good. Again, I can see what it's trying to do. I can get some honey sweetness from the yeast that's in here, and I can get some quite nice bready malt, but it's just dominated by that, I don't know, it's just like an alkali sulphur that's in the water. That's 2 beers from the Tucher Brewery with exactly the same, well, I wouldn't say exactly the same, but varying degrees of the same flavour. And it's a bad flavour. If that was ice cold, you probably wouldn't notice that. You'd say it's quite a clean drinking German beer. But this room's quite warm. It's freezing outside. We've got the heating on, so the beer's going to warm up quite quickly. And I've never had this flavour of a Bavarian beer before, but that's 2 from the same brewery that have got this flavour. And I thought that was a one-off with the Christmas beer. And you know, Erdinger is from Bavaria, and I thought that couldn't be surpassed in the sulphurous beer flavour stakes. Fuck me, Tucher have just gone off in the fast lane with it. And the Hefeweiss is really nice. From what I remember, the Hefeweiss, I used to neck that like it was going out of fashion, and it was in bottles like this. They call this the Builder's half litre, and I used to neck that like it was going out of fashion. I did the Hour of Power. Have you ever done that? Here's a little trick for you. I'm not into drinking games, but this one intrigued me. And we used to do a pub quiz, and one of the fellas who did the pub quiz, he said, "Have you ever tried the Hour of Power?" And I said, "No." And he said, "You really need to try it." He says, you have a shot glass and you drink a shot full of beer every minute for an hour. And he said some people just keel over because they can't handle it, and seasoned drinkers will definitely feel the effects of it. And I was intrigued. I really had to try it, and me and my mate tried it down at Weatherspoons one evening, and we had bottles of Tucher. I was drinking Tucher. I can't remember what he was drinking, but Tucher was about 5. I think Tucher was 5.2%. The Weiss beer, and I was doing that. And you know, you drink a shot glass every minute, and you think, you know, for the first sort of 15 minutes, you think, oh, this is fucking rubbish. You get to about 35, 40 minutes, and you think, Jesus Christ, this is full on. And when I got to 50 minutes, I was really struggling. Now, you might get all macho and think, oh, I can fucking do better than that. You try that after a few beers. Try the Hour of Power after a few beers with a reasonably strong beer, like a 5% beer. That'll finish you off. Guarantee it. Anyway, back on subject. Let's give it another go. It's getting more palatable, but I just cannot get that sulphurous flavour out from this beer, and that's a real shame, because Tucher I know they do a really good Weiss beer, but the Christmas beer and this have really let me down. What's the verdict on Tucher Nuremberger Lagerhell? Well, I decided to try this as a last resort because I just had 2 really bad beers from Bavaria, and I thought, let's go to a trusty beer, which a lager you can't fuck up. And lo and behold, I'm getting that horrible sulphurous flavour with it, and it's really putting me off. And I hate doing this, but I don't like this beer. It's not nice. Obviously other people are probably not going to get that, but I can pick that sulphurous flavour up straight away. Now, I reviewed the St Bernardus Christmas beer before, and they had aniseed, and it had like a slightly sour ester to it, and I really liked that. Now, when I tried that, I said this is probably not going to be to everyone's taste, because certain flavours are not going to be to everyone's taste, and aniseed I know is not everyone's taste, and that sour yeasty ester is not to everyone's taste either. Some people may like this sulphur type flavour. I don't. I just can't abide it. It's almost like somebody's put salt and Alka-Seltzer and a Disprin into the beer. That's how sensitive I am to that sulphurous flavour. And I used to get that from Erdinger, and I just didn't like, because Erdinger I used to think that was the most sulphurous tasting beer. Don't get me wrong, there are some British beers that have got like a little sulphur type seam running through it. They're dominated by really strong other style of flavours, you know, like big caramel malt and toffee malt, but you can get that, especially the ones from Burton, you know, Fuller's. You can sort of get a little trace of sulphur in there. It's negligible. I never bother to mention it on the reviews, but it is there, and I don't mind it when you've got them big flavours, the big, you know, nice caramel and toffee malt flavours that Fuller's is renowned for. But when you've got a lager that's got it big time, nah, I don't like it. Do you know what? It's going to get a 4 out of 10. I'm not going to recommend it. I may revisit it in the summer, because if it's really cold, maybe I won't notice it. But nah, I'm not enjoying this. That's probably going to go down the sink. So that's going to get a 4 out of 10, and I can't recommend it because I don't like it. If you like sulphur, if you like Alka-Seltzer, all you hardcore drinkers out there who've needed the services of Alka-Seltzer, you may like that, but not for me. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.